Hi folks, how you doing there? Welcome to the YouTube channel. So today's video, we're going to be talking about a few different things regarding order types and order routing in trading. And I'm going to show you some examples using the Trader Workstation platform on Interactive Brokers. So I'll just give you a brief rundown of what I'm going to talk about first. So first I'll talk about order types. So limit orders, limit if touched, market if touched, stop limits, mid price, all the kinds of the various order types, which ones I think are the most important, which should be generally limit and market and stop. I will also talk about bracket orders. So basically orders where you will have a take profit and a stop already programmed. And this is very useful if you want to make your trading approach very mechanical. And I think that that's one of the most effective ways to do it, essentially, because when you're trading, you know that your edge is existing over many occurrences instead of few occurrences at a time. That's why you want to make your trading approach relatively as mechanical as possible. So that's why using bracket orders and using stop orders can help. I'm going to talk about programming order presets for defined tickers and different trading products that you use. So you can actually program presets in the Trader Workstation platform here for any different underlying or any different contract, basically. And those presets are going to apply for that specific ticker or that specific market you're choosing to trade, right? So for example, let's say I know my predefined size on the spiders is going to be 100 shares minimum buy, and then my increments are going to be an extra 10 or 20 shares at a time or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll set my minimum order quantity to 100, and then I'll set my increments to 10 or 20 depending on what it is. So you can choose to customize that based on the markets you trade. And again, this is just going to aid with the automation of your process, right? I'm going to show you a few examples of hotkeys and using the order entry windows in Trader Workstation. With the beauty of hotkeys, you can program a key basically to put in all the orders you essentially need. So for example, if I want to just show you an example, I can press a key that will sell the market limit, but also put in a trailing stop to buy back the position. So that's an example. I press the key right there. It's going to put in an order to buy at the bid, and then it's going to put in a stop limit below at the desired price that I chose. So I will show you how to do that in Trader Workstation. It's very easy. So let's get into it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is order routing for stocks and options, and talking a bit about the smart routing system that is available in Interactive Brokers. And I'm going to talk about it and how it's beneficial, how it's not beneficial. And yeah, so let's get right into it here. So order types. Now, generally, if you go to any order entry window, so this is an example of an order entry window here in Trader Workstation, you're going to have the option to buy or sell, the quantity, the type of order, and the price of the order, and when you want it to execute, day, good till canceled, allow pre-open, etc. And you can also add advanced parameters like routing and attaching bracket orders. Okay, so you can do all of this stuff within the order entry window in Trader Workstation. Now, if you want to develop a faster approach, I suggest programming everything you need into hotkeys and not worrying about clicking a bunch of buttons on your screen. But it's still good to know where everything is so that you know what you need to program, right? So there you can see there's a whole bunch of different orders. Now, in regards to order types, there are various kinds of order types available to you in Trader Workstation. You don't need to concern yourself with all of them, but I do recommend you to get familiar with the order types that are the most important. Limit order being the number one, of course. If you don't know what a limit order is, go and look it up because that's not the point of this video. Market order, obviously. Stop order. Those are the three types of orders you need. Limit orders, market orders, and stop orders. Now, I will recommend you, if you use Trader Workstation, that if you're going to use a market order, you would like to attach the adaptive algo to a market order, because what the adaptive algo does is, according to what it says right there, reduce trade cost by attempting to trade between bid and ask, and that's it. So generally, when your trade is executed between the spread, your order is categorized as adding liquidity versus taking liquidity from the market. Now, there are some cases where that might not be possible. An example where there's a fast moving market and there's a lot of liquidity on one end of the trade, you might have to pay up to get into that trade. But in cases where there might be available liquidity, using the adaptive algo in combination with a market order seems like a good enough balance that will get you in the trade fast, but also at a fair enough price with less slippage. And I've noticed that it works quite well generally, especially for options. So if you're going to use a market order, probably attach an adaptive to that. Mid price, this is an algo available and it only works with shares. So if you're a shares trader, you want to look up and study this mid price algo and see if it applies to your trading style or not. Now, again, just remember the most important order types you need to be aware of are limit, market, and stop, okay? Everything else is just like adding dessert to your table, okay? So you can learn about certain things like limit if touched, or market if touched. Now this is an interesting thing. Now you can't see it in the order entry right here for some reason. It doesn't show up there, but if I go into my quote monitor, you're going to see if I program an order to, I don't know, buy or something, you're going to see here limit. If I click on that, now you're going to see LIT and MIT. I think they're interesting orders. Let's look at the description. It says a limit order that is held in the system and only submitted when the order's trigger price is touched. So essentially, let's say you have a lot of size to unload and you don't want to show your size to the market. You don't want to put in a limit order to sell 1,000 SPY calls at a certain price. So what you're going to do is you're probably going to use a limit if touched order or many limit if touched orders and program them at different prices so that when the contracts trade at those prices, your orders are going to start appearing and start adding liquidity to the market. As people want to buy those contracts, you're going to be selling into those. Analyze what I just said, and that is exactly what smart money should be doing to hide their size from the market. And in my opinion, probably that's what they do. So they're going to be using these types of orders that will not show their size in the market. They will only show their size when it comes to trade at the price they want to execute at, right? So again, limit if touched, market if touched, trailing stops, all that. Okay, so those are the order types you should be concerned about. All right, guys, let's talk about bracket orders real quick. So if you go in to put in an order in the order entry here, let's say you want to buy this market. You have your order. Now you click on that little advanced tab there and you can click on this here, attach stop loss or profit taker. If you check these boxes, you're going to be able to attach a stop loss to this trade. So if you buy in at 295.50, you want to put in a stop loss at the desired price, and you can choose a stop or a stop limit. And of course, using the order presets, which we'll talk about later, you will be able to pre-program the stop amount based on where your order is executed. So if your order is executed at 50 and you want your stop to always be 15 ticks below where you entered, you can absolutely program that in your order presets, okay? So this is just showing you an example of how it's gonna show up in the order entry itself. Like I told you before, I don't recommend you use the order entry itself, especially if you're short-term trading. You want to have this stuff already programmed. Here's the example. So you can obviously put in your stop at whatever price, stop and limit. You can set up a profit limit to take profit at that price. Now, for profit takers, there's a couple of other orders you can use, one of them being REL, and I'm not exactly sure what this is, but you should look into that. Generally, if you want to be 100% automated, probably you want to put in a profit taker on a stop order, but I mean, if you're sitting at the desk and watching the thing anyways, so it all depends. It's all relative to your own trading approach, okay? So again, there's other options here like hedge, one cancel another. So I believe this one cancel another feature here is going to be something like if you put in an order here and then you put in another order here, if one of the order triggers, the other order is going to cancel. So you can do that here, and it could be any kind of instrument. It could be an option contract, a share contract. So let's say if your order gets filled, your other order that you program in one cancel another is going to get canceled once the first order program fills, or vice versa. Now just remember that with bracket orders here, if your stop loss gets hit, the profit taker is automatically going to get taken out of the market. It's going to get canceled. And if your profit taker gets hit, the stop loss is going to get canceled. So just be aware of that. That's important. And that's something that IB will do automatically for you. Feel free to familiarize yourself with this menu just to take a look and understand some different things. This right here in the order entry window on the right side, this is going to be where your order entry is going to be referencing from. So if you choose book trader or option chain, it means that whenever you click on a contract in your option chain, it's going to get sent to this order entry automatically, okay? So that's going to be where it's referencing your contracts or prices from. So for example, if you click on reference book trader and you click on your book trader price, it's now going to put in an order to buy if you clicked on the bid side at that price, and sell if you clicked on the ask side at that price, okay? And obviously you can choose to automate all this stuff and make it so it does it automatically. Let's talk about order presets and designing presets for different markets. All right, so you're gonna wanna go into the general configuration menu here and go down to presets. Click on presets. And now you're going to have presets for all your different kinds of markets, stocks, options, futures, warrants, etc. You can design a preset for individual types of trading instruments. Like if you say every time you do a stock trade, it's going to be a certain amount of quantity and a certain amount of increment and a certain kind of order, right? Let's say you trade 2 or 3 different markets, but your size on trading those 2 or 3 different markets varies, and you have a different minimum buy-in or sell quantity for those markets. So you can absolutely program order presets for different tickers. So I'll show you how to do that right here. So presets, now click on whatever market it is. So let's say stocks, ticker. Let's say I trade SPY. I'll click OK. So now this preset is going to be active every time I'm trading or programming an order in the SPY, okay? So if I know for a fact that my minimum quantity buy-in for SPY is gonna be 100 shares, I'll put it in right there. So every time I prompt an order, it's gonna put in, the minimum size it's gonna put in is 100 shares. Now you can obviously make this whatever amount you want. Now, this next parameter is very important, is the size increment. Now, if you programmed hotkeys on your keyboard to increase or decrease size of your order, it's going to increase or decrease by the increment that you selected in your order preset. So let's say your minimum size is 100 shares and you want your size to increase or decrease by 10 shares based on the buttons you press, okay? So that's exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna set it to 10. I don't know what book trader quantity multiples will do, so I'm just gonna leave it the way it is for now. So it says enter a list of order multipliers separated by commas to be used to quickly create orders with the desired order size. So that's interesting. So it might be that if you wanted to change your quantity in multiples instead of in actual increments. So I think it relates to that. So now here, there's a couple of checkboxes using closing position size if possible. This is an important box because let's say you're long 1,000 shares. If you check this box, when you put in your sell order, it's gonna put in 1,000 shares on your sell order. So that is convenient if you need to program a take profit. Now, if you wanna put in a take profit with less than 1,000 shares, it's still convenient to have this box checked because it will program your 1,000 shares, and then you can simply just reduce the order quantity using your hotkey, and then you'll be set to go. Okay, there's a couple other checkboxes here. Now, I'm not gonna go over every single thing here because some of them have more importance than others. So now here's where you select your primary order. So what is going to be your primary order for the market that you've selected? So in the case, let's just choose limit, and I want the limit price to be at the bid. Now you can choose whether you want your limit to be at the bid, ask, last price, bid and ask, midpoint, are not specified. Every time I prompt an order on this ticker, I want it to be limit at the bid automatic. So you see all of these parameters here, stop price, limit price, offset amount. This is only going to be active on certain order types. Okay, so right now, since I selected limit, all of this stuff, stop and limit price, this is not relevant. If I had selected stop in this menu, then the stop price would obviously have to be set to a certain amount, right? Stop price at the bid minus 5 ticks, for example, right? So again, just remember that a lot of these parameters only apply to certain order types. So you need to educate yourself as to which order types they apply to. Once you've set your primary order, you now have the option to set up profit takers and attach stop orders to this order. So let's say every time you trade the SPY, you know that you're going to be risking approximately 15 ticks. For profit taker, you basically have 3 options for an order. You have limit, REL, and RPI. So go and educate yourself as to what those things are. Probably your best bet is still to use a limit order, but still go and educate yourself. Let's move on to stop order. This is going to be very important. So I'll give you a hypothetical example. Let's say you have a mechanical system that whenever you enter a trade, you want to have a pre-programmed stop a certain amount of ticks below your entry price or above your entry price for a sell order. So this is how you're going to do it. You're going to go to attach stop order. Now, this is important. Make sure you read this. It says when a stop type is selected, an attached order is automatically created. Values entered are for parent buy orders and will be flipped for parent sell orders. So this is anticipating that your order is going to be a buy order. So if you're programming a sell stop, you need to make sure that your ticks are minus a certain amount below your bid price, right? So in this case, I've selected 15 ticks. So what I've done here is I've selected a stop type, which I selected a stop limit order, and I selected the stop price to be relating to the parent order. So the parent order was a buy limit. So it's going to be programmed 15 ticks below the bid price that I entered. Now, in regards to the stop limit price, you should always leave a little bit of buffer between your stop and your limit, so that in the case of a fast moving market, your order just doesn't get skipped. And if you use just a market order, you can have more slippage. So you want to have a limit in there, obviously for certain markets that you're trading. So you need to leave a buffer of a couple of ticks in there. So I selected 3 ticks. I'll show you this example now, where as soon as I put in the buy order, it's also going to program a stop order 15 ticks below the buy order and the limit price being 3 ticks below that stop price. You with me? Let's try it out. And this is only going to apply to SPY, okay? So I'll click on SPY, I'll right click and I'll click buy. And you're going to see that it's 100 shares, limit price at the bid, but the market's closed now. So that's the approximate bid, I guess. And look at the stop price, which is 15 ticks below the bid price and 3 ticks below that is the limit price of the stop, okay? So all of that was programmed using the order presets. You got it, guys? Cool. So again, there's going to be a number of other things you can edit here, like adjustable stop things. Now that's a different advanced thing. Hedge and pair traders, that's for hedging. Miscellaneous. Now this trigger method is important for stop orders. If your order is a stop limit order, you might want it to trigger only under a certain parameter if the stop price reaches the mid or a double bid and ask. Now you can read that on the IBKR help forum, or just reference my video on how to use a stop order, because I did share the article of understanding all of these different trigger methods. Okay, they're very important to understand regarding stop orders. Okay, here we go. There's other options here you can choose. You can choose for your order to prefer smart routing. You can choose it to have no default destination. Price management algo. You can also set precautionary settings. In the case that one day you wake up and you just want to buy everything in one shot, you can set a precautionary setting to say that total value limit cannot exceed more than a certain dollar amount or a certain amount of shares, okay? So that could be precautionary. At the bottom here, you can select if you want an algo to accompany your order. So you have access to the IB algo, which would be adaptive, and a whole bunch of other ones here. So that's up to you really, if you want to use them or not. Cash quantity estimate factor. I'm not sure what this is entirely. You can take a look at it. So I've showed you guys how to program a preset for an individual ticker. So now you can use this to program a trading system, essentially, for whichever underlying, and you can have a number of different presets for different underlyings. That's why it's convenient. Let's keep it going here. So I'll just give you an example here. Let's say I programmed a buy order. Now let's say you use a different window. Some people like to use this window, the activity orders thing. You can right click on any one of your orders and get the necessary info you need. So you right click, and if you need to attach a bracket order, you can easily do that. You can attach a stop order or a target order if you don't have it automatically default to do that for you, okay? So just remember that in all of these order windows, you can do all of the stuff we talked about manually by just right clicking on the order and clicking attach stop or modify condition and all the stuff we talk about all the time here. So I'll just give an example using hotkeys. So I'll go to global configuration, hotkeys. Now in this moment here, let's say I have a buy limit at the bid order right here. I'm going to go to configure that. Now, let's say I want to create a hotkey that will program my buy order, but also program my stop. And again, you can just do that in the hotkey configure menu that we've talked about. I have other videos on hotkeys, watch those ones, but we'll just take a look at this very briefly here. So again, I want to program an order to buy limit at the bid, and I also wanted to attach a stop order. It's going to be the same parameters that we programmed in the order presets menu, guys. Same exact thing, except this is just going to be programmed to one key on your keyboard. So again, I selected parent order minus 15 ticks, stop with 3 ticks, all of that. If you don't want to select it, just select none. Just know that you could attach targets and stop orders to all of these things. So whatever you select, you can program all of that into hotkeys. Yes, indeed. All right, let's talk about order routing for stocks and options. So let's go to general configuration again. Let's go to orders. Now this time in the settings menu, there's going to be a few settings here that you can select. You can choose some of these things like auto sort submitted orders, auto adjust limit price for stop limit and limit if touched order, allow editing total quantity. So there's going to be a few of these options here, but what we're more concerned about is smart routing. Now, basically what smart routing does is, depending on the preset you've selected, it's an algo that will go through all of the exchanges and find the one that has the best rebates and the best fill that you're looking for, I guess, okay? These are the options that are presented to you in the smart routing menu here. So take a look, you have stock smart routing and option smart routing. And for stock, you basically have dark pools and multi-purpose. In regards to options, you have a whole bunch of different ones here. You have smart multi-purpose, maximize rebate, prefer fill, maximize fill, or dark pools only. Again, that's going to depend on you, and if you use smart routing, or if you have a certain relationship with an exchange and you trade only on that exchange, you can also select that in your order presets to always trade on that exchange, of course. But if you don't, and you're just looking for rebates, for example, you're going to want to select one of these ones, okay? So if you select maximize fill, then it means that you're going to get the fill faster, but you might not pay a lower commission for that fill. If you selected maximize rebate, the algo is going to scan all the exchanges that are offering rebates for the particular trade you're selecting. You probably won't get filled right away, but you will pay less commission for each of those contracts. So I have it set somewhere in the middle right here, which is prefer rebate, which means that if a rebate is available, I will be directed to the exchange that is offering a rebate. But if a rebate is not available, the system will fill my order on another exchange, okay? And again, you want to be careful with using these different things because depending on your trading style, it might not apply to you. So if, for example, if you trade a lot of size, you're probably going to want to keep this set to prefer fill. And if you trade less size, then probably you want to go for the rebates. But again, it's trial and error, and you're going to want to experiment with this yourself to see which ones are going to fit your trading style. Here are all the IB algos you can choose. Adaptive, arrival price. Now I'm not going to go into depth as to what these things do. I already told you earlier that if you're going to use a market order, you probably want to attach an adaptive to that market order so that you don't get a lot of slippage. And just in case you wanted to direct your order to a specific exchange, you can do that as well just by clicking on destination, and you'll see all the different exchanges available to you there. Now again, remember, all of these exchanges and market makers are in competition with one another. That's why smart routing is beneficial, because it will do the work for you. So unless you have a relationship with a certain exchange, then there's no reason not to use smart routing. All right, guys, so if you have any questions relating to any of this stuff, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, guys, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Thanks so much. Bye. Love you. Bye.